Welcome back to another video. Today we're building a shuffleboard table. Here's kind of a sneak peek of what it'll look like when it's done. Alright, here's our rough lumber we got to work with. We got cherry on the top here and then walnut on the bottom. I wish I had some more cherry, like some stuff that was a little bit nicer. This walnut's real nice. Alright, so we're starting with rough lumber. Our first step is to join it. I like to cut them into lengths that are somewhat close to what you need. I just find it easier. Bigger joiners are a lot nicer than the small 6-8 inch ones because you can get it done in one pass. I can take 8 and 8 inch or better off with this. This used to be my slowest process when I had an 8 inch joiner. That board's ready to be planed. Alright, now we're on to planing. The joiner makes one side flat, the planer makes the second side parallel. Alright, we got these surfaced on 3 sides now, so the next step will be to cut them on the table saw and to our final dimension that we need. Okay, I got all my pieces cut and I brought out this leg is already, this is a leg for the table, but it's already finished. But I'm using this to kind of demonstrate the pieces that we got. So we got the panel, this middle piece, and then we got the stiles and the rails. So we got to cut all this joinery now. We got to cut this groove. You got to cut these tongues, and we got to cut this panel profile. So I got the shaper already set up to cut the panels, so I'm going to start with the panels. All right, here's my setup for cutting these panels. I've got this. I've got my panel cutter, my back cutter in here, and then this shaper is a sliding table. You don't need that. You could use a sled or a miter gauge. And then I built this this clamp here, so I can just put my pieces in here, flip the switch, and then it's locked in. Alright, I took off the fence, I got the power feeder slid over, and now we'll run the edges. You want to do the ends first, so if you get any chip out like this, then when you run the end first, you get that little chip out, then you can just run this edge and it'll cut it off. Alright, now that we got the panels milled, we got to mill the stiles and rails. So I'm starting with the ends. This is what we got. This is what we need to cut. So I got my cutter in. I got my setup very similar to how we had how we did the ends of the panels. I did put a backer board in here. This will help with tear out a little bit as it goes through here. So let's get these cut. Alright, I got all my long pieces milled. Now I'm down to these two short pieces. These are going to be the two most dangerous pieces of this whole project to mill. Because they're so small, it's hard to get a hold of and if the shaper was to catch this, it would just eat that piece and it just blow up. So I got it locked in with this. This clamp will lock down on it. I also put another block here to help keep this from twisting. So let's see how this goes. Alright, we got our ends coped. Now we just got to cut our profile along the side. I got the shaper set back up for that with the power feeder and the feather board. Okay, I'm back to cutting these little pieces. And I gotta cut this profile on both these edges. This is how I like to do small pieces. I clamp a board all the way along that this just fits in. So then it has nowhere to go. Then I also set my power feeder up more straight. Usually you set your power feeder up with kind of an angle, but when you're doing these little pieces, if you set it up at an angle, it can start to twist this end into the cutter, and it'll just eat this whole piece. Just bam, like that, gone. So this is how I'm going to do these small pieces. Alright, so here's all the pieces that we just cut and milled. These are just loosely kind of laid out. This is one side of the table. Alright, I got this all dry fit. Looks good. I don't have a clamp. This is 16 feet long. I don't have a 16 foot long clamp. So I just got this wedge. So this will tighten that up. And then I put a block here and a block here to keep it straight. I got this big steel plate to put on the middle to hold the middle down. So let's get this glued. I'm using Type Bond 3, so I have about 8 minutes or so to get this all glued up. Alright, I got all those sides for the legs made. 24 of them. So now we just got to miter these on both the edges so I can miter fold these into the legs. Alright, I got this whole stack mitered. Now I want to cut a dado in the bottom and in the top of this. The bottom will be to hold the foot. That's going to be adjustable. And the top will be to attach this to the top. Alright, I'm doing the dado on the top, and I'm indexing on the bottom again. If you index from the bottom on one side and the top on the other, if you have any inconsistencies, they won't go together right.
"20-foot cuts later."
Alright, I'm gluing up the legs. I like to lay them out, line them up with a flat edge, tape them, flip them over, glue them, and then fold them. And make sure you use the edge that you reference to your dados to reference for gluing. You want to stretch this tape when you put it on. And flip it. Glue it. Cut these blocks out of hard maple for my top and my bottom. You want to really pull this tight. All right, once it's all taped, then I come back, burnish the edges. I like to wipe the excess off to hold the bait on if you should or shouldn't, but I've never had a problem with it. I did seal the inside of these boxes with lacquer before I put them together. Then just check this for square. There's usually a little bit of room for play. Just like that. Alright, I got these all in clamped. Now I just want to flatten the ends. These aren't going to be perfect, so we'll clean them up on a disc sander quick. Make sure that this is square to the flat and this is also square. That's all it takes. Just a little bit.
48 ends later.
Alright, here's the top of the shuffleboard table. I didn't really film making this, but this is just butcher block. I bought walnut butcher block and then I seamed it in the middle because I couldn't get it long enough. And then, you know, you can see how I cut this apart. I cut this chunk, which is like 5 inches or something, and then I put these boards in between it to strengthen it. So that's 20 inches wide and about 15 feet long. I requisitioned some help to get it planed. Alright, I'm cutting the lines in for the scoring lines. I got a 1/2 inch bit in here. I got it set really shallow because I don't want to put a piece across the grain really deep because it will affect how it moves. Alright, so I got the base mostly assembled here. I'm just sitting on sawhorses. Now I'm working on making these frames to hold the top. And I got them pretty much screwed together. I just gotta pocket hole these and get these in here, and then I'll bolt the top to this, and then I'll put another one, you know, down here, and then screw up from the bottom to attach the top to that, or top to the frame to the base. Alright, this is a Castle pocket hole machine if anybody's wondering. I found this to be a lot nicer than the Craig Foreman. I'm putting this felt on, so I bought some 3M high strength 90 to put on this. Glue this on here. I did a little test piece and it seems like it works. They don't really have a good idea of what I'm doing here. I'm not an upholsterer by any means, so we'll see how this turns out. Alright, this one side came out pretty good. One thing I learned is I didn't have near enough glue. I got one can, and that got me like hardly anywhere. So I'm gonna need like 3, 4, 5 more cans to do this. Alright, I got the felt in. There's a few wrinkles in the middle, but that doesn't matter because it's gonna get covered up. The edges and stuff are pretty good. So now I'm just putting the top on. I don't got no help today, so just me. How about that? This thing's looking sweet. I still gotta make the caps for here and attach the legs. Other than that, I think I'm done. So here this is, all finished. I took the legs off so I could move it to the customer's house.